Hello friends and welcome. Welcome to week 2 of your yoga and mindfulness immersion here on my channel. This week we're focusing on the breath. So we'll be applying that focal point here in our yin practice. This is a mini practice, so feel free to pause in each of the poses if you'd like to linger beyond the 8 to 10 breaths or so that we'll be spending in each of the poses. For props, you might grab a hold of a bolster or a couple of pillows, as well as maybe a couple of blocks. I'm going to be using a couple of blocks and a rolled up blanket, so feel free to get creative with what you have and go ahead and begin when you're ready, lying down on your back. So make your way on down to your back. And then just take a few moments, take up space, take the feet wide. Draw the shoulders down and away from the ears. The legs can be stretched out, or you can keep the feet planted. Just take a moment to arrive. Maybe taking a slow, deep breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Letting the body get heavy. Just starting to get still. Noticing the sensation of your breath. Noticing the rhythm of the breath. Natural rhythm. Let's just take one more big, beautiful breath in while we're here. Pause at the top of your inhale and just hold it as long as feels comfortable. And then exhale out through the mouth. Take a few moments to just move intuitively. You can stretch, you can hug the knees in. And then go ahead and grab a hold of either, I'm using a rolled up blanket, you could also use a cushion or a block to take beneath your sacrum. So start as if you're going to come into a bridge pose and then lift yourself up. Go ahead and place whatever support you're using underneath that flat bone, the sacrum. And then we're going to start by hugging our right knee in. Maybe you extend your left leg out long. And just try to relax the arms. Try to get as heavy and yielding as you can get here. Close the eyes down. And start to connect with your breath. We're going to stay in each pose for about 8 to 10 breaths, depending on how quickly you're breathing. Again, you can feel free to pause the video and linger in each pose as long as you'd like. Becoming still, heavy, yielding. Noticing how the breath moves the body. Feeling that rising and falling. That levity and that surrendering down, that heaviness. And then fine-tune your focus in on the breath. rising, the expanding, the inhalation. Following the falling, the releasing, contracting, exhalation. Take 2 more breaths here. And slowly you can plant the left foot if you extended that leg out long, then release your right foot down to the earth. And then when you're ready, just hug your left knee in towards your chest. Maybe extend your right leg out long to open in the front of the hip flexors. And then notice where you can relax a little bit more into this shape. And then let your breath be your anchor into this present now, here. And part of our mindfulness practice is working with distraction. So just knowing that the mind is going to wander, that's what it does. And we can just notice that. We can just notice that habit of wandering off, of getting distracted. And then we just gently guide our attention back to the breath. Following the rising, the expanding, the inhalation. Following that falling, releasing, contracting, exhalation. Take a couple more breaths here. Maybe you're tuning into that rhythm or the sensation of the breath. Maybe even the sound of your breath. Take your last breath here. If you extended the right leg, plant the right foot, release the right foot down. Slowly press into the feet, lift your hips up, shift aside your prop, lower your back down and hug one knee in, then the other, and then find a little bit of free movement here. Maybe you rock side to side or take the knees for some bigger circles. Maybe you roll out the ankles without any pops and cracks. Then we'll release left foot down to the earth. Inhale your right foot up high. Exhale, cross your ankle over the top of your thigh. You can extend your right arm out to the side. Maybe take a cactus arm. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, drop your figure 4 over to the left. The knee is going to stay pointing up. You can even take your left hand to the inside of your right thigh. Gently press the knee up towards the sky. And we'll rest here. If you notice some tightness or tension in the body, you can direct your breath to those points. Feeling the breath creating space in those areas of tightness, tension, gripping, holding. With your exhalations, you might just feel a little bit more softness in those places. And you might even bring in a little mantra just to help give the mind something else to focus on. Just repeating whenever you need to, or maybe with the breath. My breath is my anchor into this ever-present here, now. My breath is my anchor in this ever-present here, now. Two more breaths here. On an inhale, slowly bring your gaze and your figure four back up through the center. Maybe inhale to extend your right leg up towards the sky. Exhale to release. And let's switch it out. Inhale your left leg up high. Exhale to cross it over the top of your thigh, and then you're dropping your figure four off to the right. Knees gonna keep pointing up. Maybe extend your left arm out to the side. Maybe take your right hand to your inner left thigh and gently press the knee up towards the sky. Shouldn't feel any sensation or pain in your knees during these poses. And if things feel uncomfortable or tight or tense, again, invite your breath down into those places to help create space with every inhalation and help create greater softening and releasing with each exhalation. Using your breath not only as a tool to help create space and relaxation, but as your anchor into the present moment. There's only ever one breath, one moment. So we practice breath by breath, moment by moment. Three more breaths here. And a last deep breath in. And a long breath out. Using an inhale to take your figure four back through the center. Can release the feet to the edges of your mat and then start to windshield wipe gently and slowly side to side. Then you're going to drop your knees to the left. We're focusing on the internal rotation at that right leg and hip joint. You might walk your right foot over to the right so your hip and your knee are in one line. So your knee moves away from your midline so that it's lining up with your hip. You could stay here. You could place something underneath that knee if this feels too intense. And if you want to increase the intensity, you can take your left ankle to the outside of that right thigh, knee area. Use your breath to get you through strong sensations, to help create space, relaxation, and to just stay riding that wave of the present moment. Working with that distraction, anytime you notice you've wandered off in thought, step one, just noticing that distraction, that habit of distraction, and then guiding yourself back to the breath, your chosen point of focus, cultivating concentration through this practice, cultivating focus, as well as awareness of those samskaras, those neural pathways and habits of distraction, which we all work with, but just getting to know ourselves a little bit better. Take 2 more breaths here. And we're always becoming curious about these habits just from a place of interest, curiosity, compassion. Not here to judge. Use an inhale to slowly release everything back. Exhale to drop your knees off to the right. And then again, you might walk that left foot over to the left a little bit to bring your knee more in line with that left hip. Focusing on that internal rotation. Again, this is too much, stick a prop, blanket, or a block underneath that left knee so you can relax into this shape. If you want more intensity, take your right ankle to the outside of that left thigh, knee area. And then just come back to the breath in whatever way interests you the most. Perhaps just think of it as an experiment. This whole immersion is really just an experiment and a chance to explore and come to know ourselves a little bit more. Riding the wave of the present moment with each breath. Three more breaths here. Take your last exhale. Slowly start to release on your inhalation. You can find stillness here. You can find a slow windshield wipe if you'd like. Listen into your body's wisdom for a moment and just notice what you need. Our next pose, let's go ahead and slowly roll onto the right side and lift ourselves up. We'll come onto all fours. And then go ahead and have your blocks handy, maybe a blanket handy. If you have sensitive knees, we're gonna do a few dragon poses. So you could always support the knees with a folded blanket. And then have your blocks handy just in case. And we'll go ahead and come from a tabletop, extend your right leg back, inhale. Exhale, hug your knee up towards your chest and step your foot through. We'll start with a low flying dragon, or a baby dragon, excuse me. Starting with our baby dragon, hands on either side of the foot. And you can bow the head here, just sink the hips forward and down. We'll stay here for about 8 breaths. Start to ride the waves of the breath. Every time you notice distraction, that's step 1. Step 2 is coming back to the breath. Take your last breath here. And then just start to slowly shift, heel toe that right foot out to the side. Walk your right hand to the inside of your foot. And then come onto your forearms. So here's where you may use a bolster or blocks to come into our low flying dragon. And you can move with the breath here. Tune into your body and notice if a little gentle movement sounds helpful. And then sink in with the breath. Let your breath be your anchor. If it calls to you, you might start to take your right hand to the inner right thigh, and then start to guide your knee over to the right, finding a bit of a twist. Keep your spine nice and long here. Maybe gaze back. And breathe deeply. Taking one more breath if you're twisting, final breath. And then inhale back through your low flying dragon for one final breath. Slowly start to lift yourself up. We're going to come back to all fours and find a little bit of intuitive movement here. Maybe circling the hips around. Moving with your breath. When you're ready, we're going to inhale the left leg back. Exhale to step between the hands. Starting with a baby dragon. Again, you can use some props here if you'd like. Relax the head down, sink the hips forward and down. Anchor your awareness to your breath. If the mind feels quite busy here and wandering off in distraction frequently, you might just notice, take a little mental note out of curiosity. What are those thoughts about? Are they thoughts like, I can't stay in this pose, I'm gonna have to get out of it? Or maybe you're off thinking about what you're gonna make for dinner, or something somebody said to you that, hurt your feelings or made you think, or just notice what your specific habits of mental distraction are, and just have fun noticing. And then once you take your note, come back to the breath. So these still practices give us a great opportunity to notice those specific habits that are specific to us. So they're super interesting. Let's take one more breath here. And then we're going to heel toe that foot out to the left. Toes can turn out a bit. Coming to your low flying dragon. Coming onto the forearms. Again, you can find a little movement here if you'd like. Or stillness. You can stay here, or you might start to bring left hand to inner left thigh, gently pressing that knee open. You can gaze past your left shoulder. Keep your spine long here. Mindfulness is a practice that is breath by breath, moment by moment, just presence. If you've taken the twist, take your last inhale here. Slowly come back through your low flying dragon. Take one final breath all together. And then use an inhale to slowly lift up and release. Same thing, come back slowly through your tabletop and just find a little bit of movement here, intuitive movement. But move slowly, move gently. then we'll go ahead and come to our final seat. You are so very welcome to pause this video or turn off this video early so you can come into a final relaxation, coming down into Shavasana and just becoming still, being with your breath, or just letting go of focus actually in general for a moment and resting. Otherwise, come to a final seat. We'll go ahead and close out our practice. Sit up nice and tall, close your eyes. Feel the waves of your breath. You might even visualize a wave of breath flowing in through the left side of your body toward your midline. Exhaling, that wave washes out through the right side of your body. Inhaling, a wave of breath and sensation in the left side of the body toward the midline. Exhale to feel that wave wash out the right side. Being with these waves for just a few moments longer. Waves washing over and through you. Go ahead and take one final breath here. And then we'll just bring the palms together and we can thank each other for our practice. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for week 2's Yin Yoga class, where we're focusing on the breath. If you haven't already and you're enjoying this whole immersion, feel free to subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it with anybody who might be interested in joining along, and I look forward to our next practice together. Much love.